What's up team, Nick here. Now as many of you already might know, I just returned from Italy where I was competing at the WUKO World Cup martial arts tournament, and I ended up coming home with a gold medal in the men's black belt Shobo Ippon Kumite. The reason I'm saying this right now is because I want you to understand that the things I'm talking about on this channel work at every level of competition, so not just at small local tournaments, but all the way up to the world level competitions. For instance, just before I left, Jamie and I did a video on how to strip kicks away to follow up in Kumite. So here's a quick clip of me utilizing that same exact drill that I taught you guys in that video at the World Cup over in Italy. Now if you want to check out that video, I will toss a link down in the description box and I'll put a link at the end of this video. Now today I want to share with you another idea, another training drill that I utilized very successfully while I was over there. And that's how to do a really explosive and fast blitz during Kumite. And we're going to get started right now. Alright, so in just a second, I'm going to show you the clips of me utilizing this idea in the competition. But if these are things that you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you'll stay up to date with all of our upcoming videos. Because we're going to do videos on anything that you request, along with things that I think might be valuable to help you with your training and bring you up to the next level. So with that, let's go ahead and shoot over, check out the clips from the competition, and then we'll break them down step by step and talk about whether you're going high or low, what strategy that we're going to use to make them work effectively. Alright, so in that first clip, I wound up throwing my technique Jodan, or to the head level, strictly because of how the other person was holding their guard and how I was able to actually move their guard to make that opening the easiest one to get to. So first we're going to talk about the hand motions, and then we'll talk about the footwork, which is really where a lot of the fine details come in. So I'm just going to set up into a really simple kamae right now, or a fighting stance. What we're going to do is I want to be able to take the other person's front hand and put it down by their rear hand. Alright, so I'm not trying to swat it really far out of the way. I'm not trying to grab it. All I'm trying to do is take it and push it straight back to them like this. Alright, so if they were sparring, my hand is going to push right here against their hand and push it back towards their reverse punch hand. Alright, so if I swat it this way, they can bring up their leg and try to throw a kick, or at least try to turn and back away as much as they possibly can. If I grab a hold of their hand and try to pull it in, they might throw a reverse punch underneath. And even though it might not be a clean technique, I want to avoid getting hit by any technique at any point in time. Alright, so if we take this hand and put it back towards their reverse punch hand, as they throw this reverse punch, it's going to jam them up and they're going to wind up almost blocking themselves. Alright, so what I'm going to do from my angle is I'm going to be pushing with this hand. So just like I'm going to push a door close, I'm going to take my hand and push right on the wrist strap, or right on the wrist of the other person's hand here. So I'm going to wind up pushing this forward, and as soon as you can see my jabbing hand right here, I'm going to throw that motion right there. So I'm going to go 1 and 2. I'm not going to go 1, get back in my stance, and then try to throw my technique. I'm also not going to try to throw my technique around it. I want to let this pass and then throw my punch right over the top, almost like in hand Nidan, how we do usssa and nukite. We don't want to go 1, wait, and then throw our technique. I want to be able to push and go at the same time. It's the same concept, 1 this way here. So we're trying to eliminate any extra time that the other person might be able to use to counter me. Alright, so now let's take a look at the footwork and see how we're going to set this technique up. Alright, so as I'm moving, I'm going to be set up in my nice kamae or my fighting stance. we want to be able to have our feet apart about the same width as your kibidachi or horse ride stance. Alright, so as we set up this way, I need to take my hips and actually put them in front of my front foot. So if we look at the basic Kumite step, I'm pushing with my back leg and stepping my front leg forward like this, or moving back, the same thing. My feet are gonna go apart and then in. But with this blitz, we're gonna be committing a little bit more full out. So it is somewhat of a dangerous technique because you're going all or nothing with this, and there's no abort button with this technique. So as I'm set up, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push with my back leg. Now I'm not doing this to push my front leg forward. What I'm trying to do with this is actually push my hips in front of my front foot. Alright, so what I want to do is get my hips here so that I can then drive off of my left foot, which when I start off, it is going to be my front leg. When I do this, it's going to wind up having the same drive as my back leg normally does. Alright, so what this does is it immediately changes my distance from going this far to covering a lot more range with this. Alright, so it's going to maximize your drive power by pushing off of your front leg. Now again, be careful with it because you are committing full out and you can get caught with something. That's why we need to make sure we take their hands down and across so they have a harder time with countering us. So as I'm set up here, I'm going to wind up sinking and pushing with my back leg, and my body's going to go in front of my front leg like this, and then we're going to throw our technique. Alright, so what will wind up happening is your jabbing hand will wind up being a reverse punch as you step through. Alright, so as I go from here, I shift, I push, and as my body gets here, I drive through. Because again, if you push their hand back and they realize they can't counter, most likely they're going to move away. Alright, as they move away, you have to catch up to them and catch them with that technique. This also really transitions well into a sweep, if that's something you're interested in. As you go here, 1, 2, your foot's going to be on the outside of their front leg, and you can take their foot from there. Alright, so just a quick way you can train this. All I have right now is a belt that I tied over to a pole on the side of the screen here. And I'm going to get in my stance, and what I want to do is I want to rock my body forward until I get to this point right here. As you can see, my hips are in front of my base leg, because in order to drive in any direction, you need to put your power source behind what you want to move. So as I do this with the belt, I'm going to set up into my stance and just work on the footwork. You don't even have to worry about the hands, but I'm going to set up here and make sure that I'm pushing off of my left leg. Alright? Now you want to make sure it's nice and tightly secured on the side here. But as I set up, I'm going to go and push on that left leg so that when you don't have this rope, you're going to push and drive through as far as possible. You can also do this with a resistance band around your waist. You can do this by turning your belt backwards and having somebody hold on to it. There's all sorts of ways that you can train this, but the main idea is that you have to get your pushing leg behind your entire body. Same as if you're trying to push anything, you put your leg back and you push. That's what we need to make sure we do with our weight and our front leg here. So I load and then I go. So again, from here I push, load, and then go. Alright, just to make sure they don't make these videos too long, I'm going to cover the other blitz that I did. It's very similar, but it's going to the body, and I'm going to talk about the strategy and the use behind that in my next video so that I can kind of split them up a little bit and you can really work on one aspect before we move on to the next one. So take this idea, play around with it, train it. If you have any questions that I didn't cover in here, please drop them down in the comments. I personally make sure that I go back and I check every comment and respond back as much as I possibly can. But while you're doing that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button also. It just lets me know that what we're doing is helpful for you and that you're enjoying it. And then I'll toss some videos over here on the side for you to check out and see what we've done in the past. But again, make sure you keep an eye out because I will be doing the next blitz in our next video. All right, thank you all so much. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome time training. We'll see you in the next video. All right, peace.